Hey Michael, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I've just been speaking to your wonderful cast about eye
Awesome.
exams and horrible things and Mario improvisation. I mean,
Right.
it's all good fun. It's all good fun. Congrats on the movie.
Thank you.
I was saying to the guys, this feels like a bit of a Knives Out moment where we might get a sudden surge of more erotic thrillers since we haven't had many since the 90s, particularly when I was a wee teenage lad watching
I
them.
hope so. I hope so. I mean, I always describe them as like junk food that's secretly healthy for you, because it's so easy to put them on and so easy to watch, but like the really good ones have like complex relationships and complex themes.
Yeah. So when you pitched this idea, did it take some convincing for people to maybe say yes, you can do this, no, you can't, or was it quite an easy process for someone to say, oh, that sounds like a good idea?
Well, it's interesting. The last erotic thriller of note was I think 2006 with Unfaithful,
Mm.
and even though that movie was like Diane Lane was nominated and it made a ton of money, the studios weren't clamoring for the next great erotic thriller. And so I knew it was gonna take some time. And so I actually wrote the script on spec on nights and weekends. It was like the car in the garage that you sort of tinker on from time to time. And eventually my wife got pregnant. And I was like, oh, I better finish this script now or I'm never going to finish it. And so I took over the walls of my unborn daughter's nursery and had all these scraps of paper that I had gathered through the years that were like taped up to the walls. So it kind of like looked like if you walked in that room, it looked like it was like out of seven, like you're tracking a serial killer, right? Except except there's like an unbuilt crib in the corner that's like sort of threatening me with the ticking clock of the baby coming. And at the same time I was writing this Netflix show, Everything Sucks. So like during the day I was like in this sweet like coming of age story, and then at night until 3 a.m. I was writing the erotic thriller. But yeah, luckily timing is everything. When we walked it into Amazon, it happened to coincide with Jen Salke over there saying to her staff, why aren't people making these sexy date night movies anymore? And then I walked in the next day and I said, why aren't people making erotic thrillers anymore? And 3 months later, we were in production or pre-production.
That's how you hope it goes for every movie, I'm sure. Just a
Yeah.
nice synergy. And I guess obviously now that even with Unfaithful, which was only 15 years ago or something like that, a
Yeah.
lot's changed in the world. A lot of things are different. So how did you kind of approach it? Because there's a lot of things you do in this that's very still in keeping with what people would expect, but also what they wouldn't expect and kind of modern in many ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, to take a step back, I think the in 2021, I think the only way an audience can actually fully enjoy seeing a scene of intimacy is if they know that the actors and the performers had agency and bulletproof consent in how their body was portrayed. And so I think that beyond creatively of how we shot it, I think it all actually stems back to what the actors wanted to do and what they were comfortable with. And we ended up with some very fearless and brave actors who wanted to make a visceral film. And I think that's how we landed there. We brought along the intimacy coordinator from that Sydney had worked with on Euphoria to sort of help us navigate those conversations in a way that was really socially responsible. And so for me, the title, the movie's called The Voyeurs, right? And I think that applies not just to the two main characters, it applies to the audience. And what I wanted to do was disrupt people by having them eventually at certain moments in the movie, you're seeing something that you're not sure that you should be seeing. And it's really intense. And it has that same sense of voyeurism where it's like you're looking at something you want to see, but you don't know if you should be looking.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of obviously that you said about the cast, here, just very quickly before I have to go. I mean,
Yeah.
all of them fantastic in the film. Was it easy to get those guys, or was it a long process to get people to say yes, I'm comfortable, or do you have a lot of people say no to it, or were you
I
lucky?
I was actually very surprised. Yeah, no, I didn't. It was not a long process. It was not a long process. I mean, with Sydney, I'd worked with her before on Everything Sucks, and as a fan, I knew this role would be perfect for her. And as a friend, I was like, please don't do this movie if you feel uncomfortable, because I don't want our past relationship to cloud what's a personal decision, you know? But I think she helped when she came on, like she set the tone, and her trust in me, I think, extended out to the rest of the cast that I think helped us all make this intense movie in the least intense of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, good luck with it. I hope it goes
Thank
really
you
well.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you